what I started seeing happening was a shift, and it started being like we're watching the look and image and feel of this particular act. And it used to be Puff pulling up in a Bentley Azure, riding backwards with Biggie, and it was like, what is that car? What is that shirt? Like, what is that? And it was like a longing to be a part of that. And then I think that the common man or kid started feeling like instead of me being ambitious enough to chase this almost unattainable seeming identity, I'm fine with making my next door neighbor famous. So, and what I mean by that is, you see artists get on stage dressed like this, in arenas, which is fine, I guess. But then when you look at it, you're like, wow, it's like a lack of effort. And it becomes like, if you are too well produced, if you are too made up, we don't take you as serious because we're so cool. It's like they became too cool to look at. I think Beyonce's and Usher's are last of a dying breed because Beyonce comes out full leotard, sparkles, explosions. And now other artists are coming out in hoodies and sweats, like girls, like coming out in hoodies and sweats and that's their thing. And I'm not trying to say that they can't. But what happened was mediocrity started being more acceptable, and it started being like, oh, you look cool. You seem like you fit the role of what I'm into right now. So the song's okay, but I've convinced myself that this song is amazing when it may not necessarily be so. Now, you do have those acts who fit that, and they do make incredible records, like, Alyssa Cara or, Troye Sivan, who don't do all the over-the-top glam, but they make exceptional records. So there are exceptions to that. But overall, I think the masses are leaning more towards an aesthetic as opposed to this is a brilliant record. We don't identify so much with greatness anymore. It's all about, were they jumping around and they saying this song, this word 50 times in a row, and got tattoos on his eyeballs. It's cool to me. Fits the look. I'm riding with it. So whatever you do, just be great, and that's my only requirement.
Yeah.
Be great. There is a lot of pain in our community, and there's a lot of it has to be an issue with a kid who's 20 years old and does drugs all day, right? I want to hear that pain. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I want to promote anybody doing drugs, but if you are, be Kurt Cobain and tell me, I want to see how incredibly hurt you are, and maybe we could find a way to help heal, or you might help heal somebody else who's going through what you're going through. But don't just say, I get high every day. And it's like, all right, well, what else? Because that doesn't intrigue me. When I look at Janis Joplin, she was passionate. She was going through a lot. Like, you could hear the pain in the lyric in her voice, and she ultimately died of an overdose. And you look at it and say, wow, this woman was really suffering. I don't feel like that same thing can be said for so many acts because they're just celebrating the fact that they get high.
Yeah.
And I don't see the genius in that.
No.
I think you're crying out for help, but you don't even know how to articulate the pain you're going through. So when you articulate that, you earn my respect. So I don't think it's a content issue. Whatever you talk about, I'm not against whatever. Just be a genius. Be incredible. Translate it in a way that's like, wow, Girls Just Want to Have Fun was a genius record. And the concept was just girls just want to have fun, but it was incredibly well written, incredible performance. It doesn't have to be super deep. It doesn't have to be super melancholy. It has to be great, though. And I think that if we don't require ourselves to be great, we are doing ourselves an incredible disservice. And you have an entire generation of people who accept mediocrity, and then the rug's going to be pulled from them. And I'm going to tell you why. If you can make $1 billion off being half of as great as what you could potentially be, then your half is going to be your whole. And you're never going to know how great you can be, and your ceiling is going to be here. And what's going to happen is one day you're going to wake up, and greatness is going to be a requirement. And you're going to have an entire generation of kids who don't know how to adapt to being great because they spent their whole life admiring people who accepted mediocrity. If you don't see that happening, if you don't understand how much of a curse that's going to be, a generational curse for an entire group of people, I'm telling you, you're going to be lost in the sauce because that's real. Because when we require greatness from ourselves, there is no place we can't go that we can't exist and thrive and do great. But if we accept mediocrity, when we get to the next level in life and people start saying, oh, yeah, do this. And you're like, what? All I ever had to do was just this. No. You have to be great now. You know how to be great, right? You sold 1 million records. You know how to be great, right? I thought what I was doing was great. I just rolled out of bed and I got in the booth and I said, Lon Vaughn 50 times in a row. So I think that the bar has to be set higher for ourselves as individuals because it feels good to be awesome. It feels good to be respected for the work you do. That feels better to me than any check or any amount of money or anything like that. Just to be able to say, man, I know him for being really great, and I admire him for his greatness and his passion. To me, that's incomparable.